this article here, 9/11 terrorists made millions on the stock market. So, okay, I'll read a little bit of this. So, terrorism, the ultimate insider trading. It's a Charles Stewart University researcher says that what happens to the financial markets after a terrorist attack and how terrorists make money from these market movements is illustrated by the suspicious trading that occurred immediately before the successful attacks in New York, Madrid, and London. So this guy, Dr. Hugh McDermott, a senior lecturer in law enforcement at the CSU, Australian Graduate School of Policy, whatever. He basically says that terrorists make money by speculating on the markets. He says, quote, when terrorists have inside information about an imminent attack, they purchase financial derivatives before the attack and make millions from the subsequent market movements. Okay, now this came out in 2000. This is back in 2011. This article came out. So I'm going to read a little bit here. I'll just zoom in, make it a little bigger. So it says terrorism, the ultimate in insider trading. So this researcher says that what happens to financial markets after a terrorist attack, how the terrorists make money from these market movements is illustrated by the suspicious trading that occurred immediately before the successful attacks on New York, Madrid, and London. So this guy says that, let's continue here. So he said, when terrorists have inside information about an imminent attack, they purchase financial derivatives before the attack and make millions. It says global financial markets reacted swiftly to the news of the terrorist attacks in New York, 2001 Madrid, 2004 and London, 2005, with a general flight to quality. Gold, bonds, and defense stock strengthened and investors flocked to highly liquid developed markets. In contrast, less mature markets suffer, as do stocks such as reinsurance and aviation. So American Airlines share price dropped 39% after the 9/11 attacks, and United Airlines dropped 42%. So even a novice trader can see the windfall that could be achieved in shorting these stocks before a terrorist attack. Take note of that right there, okay? I'll read it again. Even a novice trader can see the windfall that could be achieved in shorting these stocks before a terrorist attack. Okay? Now, so let's take a look here. So market movement. So this Dr. McDermott, a former senior manager with the Australian, whatever, notes that the German Stock Market Commission reported that in the days before 9/11, derivatives traded on underwriter Münster Rück were twice normal volumes. So this Rück's share price dropped 22% after the attacks. On September 7th, 2001, the number of put options on British Airways was 4 times normal volumes. British Airways shares dropped 42% over the following week. Between September 6th and 7th, almost 5,000 put options were bought on United Airlines, 6 times the normal volumes. Assuming that 4,000 of these options were bought by terrorists with advanced knowledge of the imminent attacks, these insiders would have made almost $5 million. On September 10th, 4,516 put options were bought on American Airlines, 285 times normal volume. It's another $4 million profit there. So I can keep going. You can keep going. There's a lot of references here. But the key, which I'm going to read it again. Okay, I'm going to read this sentence to you one more time because this is going to really set things up for the next thing we're going to talk about. He's saying, even a novice trader can see the windfall that could be achieved in shorting these stocks before a terrorist attack. Okay, now think about it. Trump with his TMTG, his DJT shares. Basically, if you knew that Trump was going to be killed, right? You could call this absolutely a terrorist attack, the same way people knew that 9/11 was going to happen beforehand because they were involved in it. Now, granted, the article talks about, it makes you think that, maybe there's all these kind of people over in Afghanistan or these Arabs or these terrorists over there that bin Laden's cousin is buying, he's shorting the airline stocks. No, it's actually probably our own government, probably our own officials, our own, people tied into the Bush family, et cetera, that were probably the ones shorting these things because we know that, well, I guess we assume through our research as truth seekers that 9/11 wasn't just some random terrorist attack and that people within our own country were highly, highly involved in orchestrating and carrying out and profiting from it, right? It's like, I think it was Larry Silverstein buying insurance on the World Trade Center shortly before that. Maybe he had a little bit of insight into what might happen. So we can see, though, that as that article pointed out, that people short a stock, right? So shorting a stock, and look, I'm not a financial trader, I'm not that kind of guy, but as I understand it, it's basically placing a bet that the stock will go down, right? So if you think that Blockbuster is going to go down significantly, you short Blockbuster, okay? Because then if it's successful, then you make money off of the lessening of Blockbuster's share values. So if we're looking at what happened with Trump over the weekend, and if we look at stocks and we look at were there any major short positions taken on stocks that would potentially fall if Donald Trump was assassinated, that might give us some good indications. So this is one of the big things that I think that needs to be talked about right now. So I've got a variety of threads and different information that I want to read to you here. So this is from earlier today. This is on the Shadow of Ezra account on Twitter, saying that someone or a group of individuals shorted millions of shares in Trump's Truth Social stock in the week leading up to the assassination attempt. Short positions against Truth Social stock doubled between July 1st and July 12th, going from 7 to 15 million shares. Now, in this person, he says that a similar occurrence was observed on September 11, 2001, when substantial bets were placed against the stocks of major airlines, American Airlines and United Airlines, the day before the attacks, which I just read that to you in that other article. Something similar happened before the terrorist attacks in Israel on October 7th, where bets against the value of Israeli companies spiked in the days prior, suggesting some traders may have had advanced knowledge of the looming terror attack and profited from it. They anticipated that Trump would be dead by Monday morning and tried to profit from that scenario, follow the money. So this little chart here, I'll pull up. This is from what I understand it, this is the shorts taken against DJT, right? So you can see a vertical line, right? That a lot of people, or not necessarily a lot of people, but a lot of shares were shorted. And this was happening right there, 7:15. So this is within 24 hours or so, a day or so before the attempted assassination. So more information has come out. Okay, so this is Champagne Joshi, who great reporting. So what he's come out with in discovering is that a company called, the question is, if there's these shorts being taken on, basically Trump's stock, which company is shorting and who runs a company, who are they tied to, what groups are they donating to, etc. So we're going to be digging into that because this is very revealing. Now, I mentioned the Bushes 9/11, and maybe we'll come back to the Bushes. We'll see where this little rabbit hole takes us. So Joshi says, a company called Austin Private Wealth LLC shorted 12 million shares of DJT via a put option. The filing date is July 12th, the day before the assassination attempt. They have around $1 billion in assets under management, and this is by far the largest put placed. According to a source, the trade represents 6% of total shares and over 16% of the float of the stock, given the fact that Trump owns 60% of the company. Right? So this is a company that Trump owns 60% of. This is a giant bet when you consider the total AUM, but wait, there's more. Okay, so this is just showing the actual bet itself. Okay, now continuing, he says, okay, to make things more interesting, my source tipped me off with the following two images from their Bloomberg terminal. The screenshot on the left shows the put by Austin Private Wealth LLC that was taken earlier this morning. It shows he says 120,000. I think he meant to say 12 million. 12 million puts. As you can see, their position is by far the largest. The next closest is Citadel Advisors with 16,000, right? So 12 million to 16,000, that's a big difference. Huge, huge difference, okay? Here's where it gets interesting. The screenshot to the right was taken later in the day, and poof, Austin Private Wealth LLC is nowhere to be found, right? All their shorts just disappeared. Okay, so let's take a look at this company, Austin Private Wealth. Okay, so this is the company that placed a significant short on Donald Trump, right? They perhaps it was just blind luck. I doubt it, right? Because follow the money. They always say follow the money, and you'll see where it takes you. that basically, within a day or so of this assassination, which they believed would happen, they put out a massive short position against Trump's stocks. Okay, so let's look at this company a little bit. Let's dig in. So Austin Private Wealth, okay, empowering you to envision and plan for a life of growth. Okay, now keep in mind, look, I am not saying that this company was involved in the assassination or anything like that. I'm not saying. All I'm looking at here is the anomaly of what I showed you from this guy's tweet, that this particular company had a massive short on Trump's stock within a day or two of the assassination attempt. Draw your own conclusions, okay? Draw your own conclusions. So, okay, fancy website, okay, this is kind of funny. With us, you'll experience no hidden agenda. It's almost comical to think about that. No hidden agenda. Okay, maybe there's no hidden agenda. All right, but let's go ahead and let's try, okay, a lot of times you go to these big websites, these big companies, financial companies that are moving around a lot of money. They're oftentimes going to talk about where they're donating money. They're oftentimes involved in philanthropy, and you can trace this stuff to figure out a lot of what's running the show. Okay, so if we go to In the Community, which to me looks like the webpage where they're talking about, right, who they're supporting and their good deeds, right? Giving back to our community drives our passion for success. Okay, so they are proud supporters, okay, of these organizations, right? We've got the Children's Cancer Research Fund, American Cancer Society, the Jewish Community Center, Boy Scouts of America. Okay, typical, big, lots of people donate to these companies. Goodwill, the Catholic School, Shalom Austin, so some Jewish organizations, Congregation Beth Israel, ACLU, ADL, right? The Austin Jewish. So what I'm seeing here, again, is just looking at this website, is that they're, by donating to, say, the ACLU or the ADL, right, Anti-Defamation League, these are companies that have a very, very strong, you could say it, liberal agenda, to put it lightly, okay? Like the ADL, like this is the company that's getting all kinds of conservative people canceled online. It's attacking people. It's a pretty significant company in this battle. It's the one that is Elon Musk is going back and forth with about their anti-Semitism. So you can see there's the Congregation Beth Israel, Jewish Academy. So what we can see is that, okay, that there's some more liberal things, and there's some Jewish and Catholic organizations that they're involved with. Now, does this mean anything? No, right? It could be just that they're following. Maybe there's a list of the top 100 companies you can donate to look good to the public, and they pick the top 10. It could be that simple, okay? But it's worth showing you. Now, let's go to the next development, though, and looking even further into this. Okay, this is interesting. So, breaking: Austin Private Wealth with connections to the Bush family. So we mentioned the Bushes earlier, and okay, coincidence. Now again, this is just pulling together information. You can draw your own conclusions, okay? But I'm reading you what this tweet is saying. It says, breaking: Austin Private Wealth with connections to the Bush family shorted 12 million shares of DJT via a put option on July 12th, just one day before the assassination attempt. The author of this post asked, did the Bushes know something was going to happen to Donald Trump? It says this massive trade represents 6% of total shares and over 16% of the float, given Trump's 60% ownership. Their 1 billion AUM makes this a significant bet. So what are the ties to the Bush family? Now, keep in mind, a lot of these ties, it's not like, the chairman of the board is George Bush Jr., right? It's rarely like that. It's usually a person that served politically that has these ties, and it's not always easy to trace these things. But as this tweet continues, it says, Austin Private Wealth is connected to the Bush family through James A. Baker III, a senior policy director with long-standing ties to the Bushes, having served as Secretary of State under George H.W. Bush and in various roles under Ronald Reagan and George W. Bush. Okay, so it's connected through this guy, James A. Baker III, a senior policy director, right, with long-standing ties to the Bushes, and he was the Secretary of State under George Bush. Okay, so is it a coincidence that the Secretary of State under George Bush is now a senior policy director with this company, with this financial firm that is shorting Donald Trump? Maybe it's just a coincidence. I don't know. You think for yourself. You're smart. It says George W. Bush has strongly shared his support against Trump despite everything happening in our country. While these connections don't imply direct involvement, they highlight significant professional relationships, which is true. Okay. So again, whether this ties back to the Bushes, I don't know. But what we do know is this company, Austin Private Wealth, placed a massive short on the DJT stocks via a put option, right? And it was like right before happening. So going back to the article I talked about, where I mentioned that even a novice trader can see the windfall that could be achieved in shorting these stocks before a terrorist attack. Now, I didn't go and crunch the numbers and see how much money was shorted and how much money could potentially be earned if, say, that these stocks fell 50%, right? Which you'd imagine they would, right? I mean, if you're a betting man and you look at the company that Trump owns 60% of the shares of, if the guy is killed, then you would probably expect that the company wouldn't do very well. Like, not implying anything, but like Elon Musk, for instance, if Elon Musk went up in a rocket and died, right, going to Mars or something, you would probably speculate that if that happened, that shares of Tesla and SpaceX and his different companies probably wouldn't fare so well, right? Because they need the leader, they need the guy that started the company that pushes it forward. So anyway, this is worth looking at. Folks, we all see it. Everything's getting more expensive. We're paying 2, 3, 4 times what things cost us a few years ago. And we know they're lying to us. 3% inflation, really? Think about it. Why are they telling us to keep our hard-earned money in the banks and stock market while they're rushing to buy gold and silver? That's right. Governments and central banks around the world are dumping the dollar and scrambling to buy up gold and silver right now. These are smart people. They see the signs just like you do. They know the crash is coming. The dollar has lost more than half its value in the last 5 years, and our national debt's increasing $1 trillion every 100 days. Folks, it can't go on like this. Even Bank of America is warning about a dollar collapse. And if they're right, it's only a matter of time before our savings, our IRAs, and our 401ks could be wiped out. Look, right now, it's easy to buy gold and silver, but in the future, it may not be. Experts are saying that prices will keep surging, and UBS says gold could even go up to $5,000 an ounce. Kirk Elliott's phone has been ringing off the hook because the folks who get it aren't wasting time. Now, I can't tell you what to do with your hard-earned money, but I can tell you that even if just some of your savings are in gold and silver, you can rest assured that money is safe. So call Kirk Elliott today and protect your wealth. It's better to be 6 months early than 1 day late. So call Kirk Elliott today at 720-605-3900 or visit goldwithseth.com. Fill out the form, set up your free wealth consultation. Again, 720-605-3900 or goldwithseth.com. Folks, you better act today.